Everyone online says you need to scale with a course. And I say, sell the damn service. I'm Emily Williams, award-winning consultant and productized offer expert since 2014. And I'm here to help you work less, make more, and stop custom building your burnout. Each week, we talk strategy, structure, and the real stories behind sustainable service businesses. You know, from service providers who like doing service work, who want to stay in service work, but also just make more money. If you're ready for all that yapping, then let's dive in. Thank you so much for staying up late for me.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I
no
don't
worries.
normally do interviews this early in the morning, so I think I've had too much coffee. I've had like 3 cups of coffee at this point. I'm like, I don't know what I need to like actually wake up. But
Well,
that's okay.
thanks for doing a morning call with me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, of course. Well, I have been seeing some of your posts on Threads, and it's really funny to me when I see stuff where I'm just like, I could have wrote that. I've said that. Like everyone listening to this. So I
Yeah, yeah.
definitely think that we are like in the same vibe mind for service
Definitely.
providers.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
how long have you been doing offer branding then?
Um, Officially since June last year, so a year and
Nice.
a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little while now. But it
Did
was
you
just
niche down into that from something else?
it was branding, so I did branding. I still do branding, and then I was like, you know what? Offer branding. Like
Yeah.
people need this. Like people are
Yeah.
sleeping on this, and then I created the offer oven to to talk about it a bit more. And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah,
We
for
can
sure.
talk
Well,
about all the mistakes
yeah.
that I've made as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like, I'm ready.
we'll
I've got all the stuff.
we'll dig into all of it. Can you remind me where you're located?
I'm in Seoul, in South
Nice.
Korea. Yeah.
Okay, what's the weather like right there, right now?
It's actually nice. Like it's autumn weather now. It's like cooling down a little bit because I just came back from a holiday a week ago from Hong Kong, and Hong Kong was hot. It was like summer hot still. I was like, what is this? And then
I
it was
know.
summer hot, and then it was like typhoon. There was 2 typhoons in the 2 weeks, and then it was summer hot again. And then yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crazy weather.
I'm in the Midwest here in Kansas City, and I think are finally ending. I hopefully, but what we were in just last week, what I call second summer, and we have summer, and then it cools down and like gets kind of rainy for like maybe 2 weeks, and it tricks you into thinking it's fall. It gets back up into like the 90s again, and summer, and it's really really hot. We're just gonna dive in and just start
Yeah,
chatting. So, okay.
cool.
Um, okay. First, explain to me, what does branding your offer actually mean?
Good question. I So in my head, branding your offer means giving your offer an identity. So creating your offer as its own identity, slightly separate from your business or your brand. That's how I look at it. We want to I'm like, I read some of your stuff earlier. I'm like, yeah, we want to productize the offer. So that's how I see it, um, as branding your offer. I think a lot of times I like to use the analogy of like Disneyland, and they have all the different lands in it, and each land has its own brand, and you go to different lands for different reasons. And that's what we want for our offer. So that's what I see branding your offer as. We're creating a visual identity
Yeah.
as well as like the strategic stuff behind it for specifically your offer.
Okay, that analogy just clicked in my brain. That makes perfect sense to me, and it's so yes, because when what I'm preaching about all the time is making sure that you don't accidentally create like that you're creating an actual offer ecosystem instead of these
Mm,
offer silos where like this one feels kind of disconjointed, and if you come to this one you might get a little bit of that result, but actually you get a little bit deeper result over here, but why do you want this one over that one? And I can imagine that the visual aspect of that can also help. So are we talking like color palette, logos,
The
like
whole shebang,
the whole thing.
basically. Yeah, what I do for a business, I would do for an offer as well. Now, the slight difference is that we also still want it to tie back to your
Right.
business brand, right? So it's basically that nuance. It's like brand your business and brand your offer. They're slightly different things, but we want to tie the two back
Yeah.
together because we don't want to lose your business while branding your
Yeah.
offer either. Yeah.
So you said that this offer came about a year and a half ago. Is this something, because what I'm always talking about to my clients is, you're going to have your signature service, which to you it sounds like branding, like all inclusive, branding. And then the scalability there and the continuing to serve and to get repeat clients and to increase your LTV and all of those like magical things that service providers are after is to figure out something that you can keep selling your clients after you've worked with them. Did this come
Mhm.
about as something where you're like, "Oh, these people who I've already worked with are launching these things and they feel disconnected, and so I wonder if I stepped in." How did it kinda come about?
I think it was both sides. So yes, so I was working with some clients and then they had some offers, whether it's like courses, group programs, or just their service. And it was like, oh, we can make that really stand out. And you can talk about your offer a lot easier when it has a brand behind it.
Yeah,
And designing things become easier, your assets become easier, your curriculum becomes easier. So that's kind of where it came from. It was like, and then I also, for me, branding is such a big service, I guess. Like just talking about branding is quite broad. So for me, it was like, what was my signature offer that I wanted for myself? And it's
yeah.
kind of meta because it's like, okay, well, I offer branding, but then I
Yes.
also branded my signature offer. So that's kind of how it evolved and how it came about. And once I just got really excited about the idea and went all in on it, started branding it. And then it was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to run with this. So yeah, so that was one side of it. And then the other side, what was the other side? I knew that there was two
There's
sides.
another side somewhere.
There is another side somewhere. But I was thinking also we we want to, I guess, figure out what the entry point to your brand would be. So not every offer is going to need branding. It's not all going to be like, like you said, if you do that, you probably would silo all your offers. So we want to find that entry point, whatever it may be, to get that hook and make people really interested in what you do. And then you can also use that to then work with clients long term and see, okay, well, once you do the signature offer, you can also work with me this way, and this way. So it can
Yeah.
work both ways for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So is it harder to like if I were to come to you and I've never paid anyone to do my brand at all. So when I say I have a brand, I have the thing that I've made. And
Yeah.
so it is not like an official thing. But would it still be something that you could offer someone who just wants their offer branded, not their entire brand redone?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. So it depends on your approach and your
Mhm.
strategy and in what you're doing, right? So you can always start with your offer branding first and then retrofit it with your business branding if that's the way you want to go and if that's the way you want to move forward. A lot of people have branding already and then they're like, oh, how do I apply this to my offer?
Yeah.
And people are getting lost in what I'm saying. Or if they have multiple offers, people are getting confused. So, one client that I worked with, they have like a membership, but then they also had a group program, and people were getting confused between the two.
Yeah.
So then once you brand one, it's like, okay, well, this one looks and feels this way. We talk about this one in this way. It's all branded, it's done. So now people aren't getting confused between the two. So they're not, their clients aren't like, oh, which one should I get? And, which one works better for me? They already know immediately. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that happen so much with service providers because, again, kind of the silos of where I think some of us like accidentally just keep creating offers for people because one person asked for it, one person asked
Mm,
for this. And so it's this new custom container. But oh, I've chatted with so many people where you can get a similar result in and yours is similar in the sense as it's branding, but it's not the same. There's either your entire brand or offer brand. It's very clear that it's different. But there's folks that I talk to that it's just there's 10 or 15 different packages behind the scenes. They might not
mm,
be leading with all of them because thank God. But when they get like on a call, they're having to filter through all of these questions to talk to their person to see, well, which of all of the things that I could do is going to be make the most sense. And what I'm encouraging my people to focus on are kind of like two different angles is one, what is the result that you know that they are after and that you want to provide and that is necessary in order for them to feel like they won, like they got it, right? That
mm.
they achieved the thing. So then only include what needs to happen in order to create that result. But then the other side of that is um, if they're confused about I could get this result, the light version over here versus the a more premium version over here, that's where I feel like a lot of people are getting stuck. And it's where a lot of people are coming to me and they're like, well, I created this lower priced offer to
Mm.
serve more budget people, but then I have my ideal clients who could afford my premium offer and they don't make a decision. So are you seeing in your work with people who might have multiple offers that they're needing to kind of shut some of them down or streamline them and that the branding gives them some clarity around that?
I think it's a case of focus.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, right? Like you can have multiple offers. I'm going to use myself as an example because I made this mistake like earlier this year. So I had created another offer, which was an all encompassing, like, here's the big shebang, like business branding, offer branding, like, all, all the assets that you can get. And I wasn't fully behind it myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I didn't push it. I actually didn't even brand it. So it was an indicator to me. So I think I like to use like the Venn diagram with
Yes.
like you as a business owner and then your client and then the overlap is where the sweet spot is. So you also when I work with clients it's always like, well, what do you want to do first and foremost? Because yes, we are here to serve clients, but also you're running a business. You should be able to run it the way you want to get you motivated to actually deliver the service
To do it.
itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, um, yeah, and then I think offer branding and branding an offer means that you can get that confidence and build that confidence in that one thing that you're doing really well. And also it it signals to your clients that you know what you're talking about and
Yes.
you have the confidence in your own offer. So you're not always chopping and changing and personalizing behind the background. Like, fair enough if you have add-ons or, ways to
Sure.
continue to work with you, but, having that one offer, having that brand behind it really helps you elevate both outwardly and also inwardly your own confidence as well. It's like, okay, well, I stand behind this offer. Like
Yeah.
I know it's good
This
and
is
I'm
the
going to
thing that
brand
you
it.
need. Yeah.
Exactly. I can tell you what you need and then we can talk about if you need anything else. So that's how that's what I learned in terms of, you know, I have like shiny object syndrome. Like I love new
For
things
sure.
and I
We
love
all yeah.
creating new things and I'm just stop. And like
But
this, creating the new thing this time around in the beginning of the year was like a big wake up call. It's like, you know what? Stick with what you like and love doing and it will come. Like how you continue to work with people, all of that. Like I had been figuring this out for a very long time and I think I've finally landed on something which is not outwardly facing. So my signature offer is still the offer oven, like branding offer is still the thing, but the things come later or you
yeah.
can add things on later for sure. Yeah.
Well,
Have
and
that
that's
patience.
it's truly it's having the patience and like I made it we all do this. We all, like, kind of fall victim to the next best thing and, like, tweaking this to
Yeah.
death and renaming this and editing this, and I promise you, like, every single time I have analyzed someone else's business that I really enjoy how they run their business and how they make money and how they serve their clients, and, like, it feels like the kind of business that I would want to also have. When I look at those and I do a deep dive into the last year, 2 years, 3 years, however long they've been in business, they've had the same business name, it's had the same core promise, and the price might have adjusted a little bit, the length of time might have adjusted, the core promise might have shifted based on the market, and then the actual service improves, obviously, as we get better and
Hmm.
we more, but the name is the same, the result is the same. And so I needed it even myself. I challenged myself this year. I told my husband, this because I launched my signature program after working one-on-one with people for years,
Hmm.
doing it. I productized it. I phase one productized it. And my initial capacity was around 3, done for you clients because I'm in your business doing everything and managing a lot and running a lot and reporting on a lot. Productize that to where that it increased my capacity to about 7 to 9 per month, which is
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
And now I want to increase my capacity more. And so I'm productizing even more. And I've ran through, people inside of this program. Well, once I actually developed it from like a one-on-one done for you service, I branded it myself,
Yeah.
gave it a name, sold out services, and launched it in, I think, March or June, like sometime around there. I had a couple beta people come in and then like a full public launch. And
Hmm.
so now coming up in November, I think this is going to air in November. So this month, pay attention, guys. The 2.0 version of that is going to be relaunching. And so I was talking to my husband though at the beginning of this year, and I was like, hey, I'm saying this out loud because I want you to hold me accountable. I created sold out services. That is my signature service. That's the only thing I'm selling for the next 12 months. Like publicly
Hmm.
out loud, that is the thing. It's going to be
Yeah.
called that. I'm not changing the name. Yes, it's gonna get perfected behind the scenes, but that's what I'm doing. And he's like, "Yeah, if you just do that, you're gonna do great." And I'm like, "I know." And so we just had a
Yeah.
meeting last night where I was like, "I'm updating SOS." And he was like, "You're not changing the name or the logo or the brand or like doing anything." And I was like, "Nope, no, no." Like, it's all the same. And I promise you all, like, when you make that commitment to yourself, everything else gets easier. And the only hard thing is continuing to stay focused on that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
That's so true. Because it's the same thing with branding. People are like, "Oh, I'm so bored of it."
Uh-huh. I'm so
But
bored.
I'm like, but other people aren't, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
fair enough. Your branding evolves. You as a business evolves. Branding has a longer timeline, most likely. Like, so it's always fine to like experiment and have some fun with it, but the core fundamental things should stay the same. And
Yes.
so personally, I'm not very good with copywriting. And when I was working with a copywriting coach, Emily, she was like, "Get your reps in."
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with offers,
Yes.
with running an offer,
Yes.
with branding an offer, using your branding. It's like, get your reps in and just keep using it
Yep.
until you're comfortable with
Yep.
doing it. Because that's when things get easier. That's when you get the space to have more capacity to figure out where you can save time, save money, get more clients, whatever it may be. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, that is the thing. If you don't have enough reps in, then no strategy is actually gonna help you because you don't
Yeah.
have enough data, from just doing
Yeah.
it. And so, like,
Yeah.
it is this weird sometimes, like, chicken before the egg situation, like, which one comes first? I was
Mm.
chatting with a business friend of mine who had an incredible client roster for her first few years of business, had some pretty big whale clients, lost one of them, and like her revenue tanked. I mean, absolutely tanked. And she's in recovery mode right now. Like, okay, what offer can I put together to get out there? And so she's kind of back to throwing spaghetti at the wall a little bit, even though
Mm.
she's in business for a while. And we've all been
Hmm.
there, right? Like I
Yeah.
was in business for in 9 years and went back to throwing spaghetti at the wall in 2023. And so we all get there. But she's in that moment of constantly renaming the offer or restructuring it or refiguring it out and rebranding it even on her own. And every
Mm,
single time we talk, I go, you just need to like work with clients in this offer. You just need to get someone
yeah.
to say yes. Okay, but how do we get people to say yes if we don't have it branded and figured out and evidence and expert and like all of these things? And so I understand the nuance of that, but there's there's also like non-social media ways to get clients and
Yeah,
that's what I
definitely.
would recommend that you focus on in
Yeah.
order to get those reps in.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
you've got to start somewhere. So I guess let's kind of talk about lead gen a little bit. Like
Mhm.
how long have you been in business total?
Nearly 7 years coming up.
Nearly 7 years.
Mhm.
Okay,
Oh,
so
well,
you've
no, if it's November, it's 7 years.
there you go. Congratulations. Happy
Thank
7-year
you.
business anniversary. Um, uh, okay, so you've been around the block for a while for sure, and you've started and you've gotten your footing, and then I'm sure you've figured out, oh my God, what am I doing? I need to kind of refigure things out. So walk me through a little bit of your business journey from the beginning. How did you land your first couple of clients? What was that like?
I mean, so my journey with design was, I guess, slightly different because I didn't immediately jump into entrepreneurship. I was freelancing. So I went through recruitment agencies and I got jobs there. But I also did use my own network. And, in the beginning, I was like, oh, no, I don't know anyone. What do you mean? Like, no one's going to give me
Mhm.
any work, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
once you reach out, your network is the power. Like, that's where it is. You might
Promise you,
think you
you
don't.
know someone. I promise
Yes.
you. Mhm.
Exactly. I still have to tell myself that now, 7 years in.
Really?
You just remember back then it's still the
Yep.
same, you know
Yep.
people and just need to talk to people.
So
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 that's how
tell
I got
us,
my
because I
first
think
work.
this is really helpful for people to hear, like, who did your first client come from? Like, did someone introduce you? What network did they come from, like, specifically?
So first client, I think, was an old boss.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was someone that I knew, someone that I worked with, and I was just like, I'm freelancing now. Do you have any work? And it was like,
Yes.
yeah, here's a project. Like,
Yes.
here you go. I was
Yep.
like, okay, thanks,
Great.
amazing. Do you
Yep.
have any more?
Yep. I always brag about my when I have been solo twice. When I first started my business ever back in 2011, it was my best friend's mom who referred me to my first premium client, and that changed everything for the trajectory of my business. And then when I
Mhm.
left my agency that I had co-founded and started out again by myself, it was my mom's boss who hired me as in my first like consulting position. And so
Yeah.
it's moms for me.
Yeah.
Like
I
have
love that.
literally started everything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like I recently got a job, so I still work in design. I don't just do branding because of the contacts that I have, right? Like
Yes.
I am uh, you know, I don't want to say jack of all trades has like a negative connotation,
Eh,
but also I am the jack of all trades. I can do
yeah,
quite a lot and do
yeah.
it quite fast. And one of the jobs recently is a neighboring company. So I used to work in an agency. It was our next door neighbor, and they were like adjacent. They were doing marketing, we were doing design, and hadn't spoken to the person in 10 years, maybe. And then he reached out and was like, "Oh, you're still doing design?" I was like, "Yeah." And then we worked together. So,
So much.
yeah,
I've had,
exactly.
I had a similar situation. I talked about this in a separate episode on a private podcast that I have, but I really like to lay out specifically where those first handful of leads come from for people because I do think even when you're in a reset, it doesn't have to be your first lead, but it can be your next 3 to 5
Yeah,
leads. Sometimes you just have to get outside of the box a little bit, and
yeah,
actually, it's not outside the box, it's back in the box that actually works, because what
yeah,
tends to happen is, like, we all start our businesses by talking to our network, and we'll maybe get an old boss, an old colleague, this old connection, whatever, who hires us. And then it kind of like domino effects into this thing. And then our business starts to grow. And then that's when we start maybe publishing on social media. And we're on
yeah,
Instagram, we're on Threads, we're on LinkedIn. And then when we need clients again, we go to social media to get those clients instead of the sources that actually helped us in the beginning. And so I
yeah,
always like to ask people, like, specifically who like kicked it off for you, because we just get stuck in our heads so many times about who's actually going to make it happen. And my story was when I went back out on my own again in 2023. I needed to replace my salary immediately. Like I lost my salary in an instant and I was like, "Oh shit. Like we have a mortgage, we have a kid, we have all of these things. Like I'm not a 22-year-old new business owner anymore. Like this is a
Yeah.
different time in my life and I need income." And so my mom was someone, she got me literally my first client coming back. But then I just started messaging friends first because that's
Mm.
the easiest low lift, reach out, but friends that are in this industry. And so I always like to say it took um four conversations for me to land my first 3 clients, and those 3 clients, 2 of them ended up referring me to other people who I also landed, and
Yeah.
within 5 months, I had contracted revenue for me to reach 6 figures in my first year. And so, like, that's what I mean when I tell you, and one of those people you reminded me was someone I hadn't talked to in 8 years,
Yeah.
but we had been like, we'd known each other, and so it was easy for me to kind of dip back in. So,
Mhm.
I don't know, it just I think about your network in different ways,
Yeah,
like
yeah, I love it. Even if it's on social media, because I have a
right,
lot of people that I know on social media, right? Like you meet people, you chat with people, and then
for
you
sure.
start, yeah. And like I think the past 3 branding projects that I've had was through referrals, but then it was people that I've met on social media who referred
Yes,
me.
yes,
So, it could come from anywhere, but I think the key takeaway is to have conversations with people, right? You know, branding is to get you visible. And I always say, like, use it as a tool. It's not there just for you to tick a box. If it looks pretty, it doesn't do anything for you. So it's more about like, are you using it to invite people into your world? I would say, like, you create that world. It's like the Disney, right? Like you create that world so that people can come in and actually just start talking to you and start being interested in what you do, because that's like the beginning. That's where branding shows people how and if you're aligned
yes,
visually, and then you can go from there instead of, some like, I was always like, oh my gosh, like if I talk to people, like what are people going to think about me, right? But then that already puts your brand in front and center so that it says something about you before someone or you talk to someone or someone talks to you, so that almost creates that bridge and bridges
yes.
that gap a little bit already,
Yep.
so to
I
make
think
it
it's a
easier.
really yeah, it's a really good point. I think that enough people don't take better like, don't use that lever better because I feel like I've done this kind of subconsciously, but I fully agree with your point. So like the content on my website, I am intentional about so I do identify as a writer and I don't offer copywriting as a service, but like it's very much a very nice bonus for my clients because I'm really good at writing. Um and so my website copy is all me, but I very intentionally sprinkle in certain phrases, a little bit of cursing, a little bit of boldness and attitude, because I don't want there to be a huge disconnect when we hop on a call and I'm acting a certain way, talking a certain way,
Yeah,
presenting a certain way, and you saw my website and you're like, this is not who I thought you were. And there's this
yeah,
massive misalignment. I've had that
exactly.
happen where I've been on the other end of that, where I
Hmm.
hopped on, this was years ago, hopped on with a collaboration call with someone, a potential collaboration, and this person was really well known in this space years ago. I actually don't know what she's up
Hmm.
to these days because she's disappeared, but her brand was very and literally her, she's like red lipstick, black hair, tattoos, like really bold, bright brand, and we get on this Zoom call, and she was like the least confident, quietest, mousiest person I've ever spoken to in my life, where I was like,
Mm.
"What is happening right now?" So much like,
Yeah,
it was such a disconnect that, like, I got off the call and I was like, "I don't wanna work with that person," because, like,
yeah,
it
you
did
just
not.
don't.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a yeah, it's such a big thing. Like, I was like, branding does some of the talking for you first.
Yes.
if you go on my website, there's a lot of food on there. So if you if you love food, we're gonna get
We're gonna
along
hang.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a lot of my content. A lot of like, I mean, my offer is called Offer Oven. Like it's all about cooking
Right.
and
So
all of that,
it's
right?
very food on brand
It
food.
is, yes. My whole theme is food themed. My whole brand is food themed, um, and also it's fun for me to do it that way.
Yes.
When I rebranded and I put the food theme into my brand, like, so one mistake that I made was that I thought, okay, I'm going to have a food theme. I'm going to work with people in the food industry. How clever is that?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
actually, that was a mistake because it actually, I had no one in the food industry. I didn't know anyone,
Yeah.
talking about network. Like I didn't know anyone in the food industry. I was trying to go to all these networking events and I was like getting burnt out from talking to loads of people and like not really knowing what they need and things like that. And then I pivoted back to service-based providers and I stood out because it's like,
Because
who
it's
the hell
so
talks about food
unique. Yeah.
in the service, yeah, in the service-based industry? And then, it just clicked and I was like, oh yeah, this is a fun way for me to show up. I can show up more. I can have fun with my website, my content, my offers, all of it. And people would then also recognize when I say, oh, I'm the brand chef. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so fun. Like, why are you calling yourself that? And then it, again, invites conversation as well. And then you can talk about your offer, what you do, and all of that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. I also love bringing in food to brands. I don't think I've done it within my current brand, but my previous company, there was a lot of like, I would make like, if I was doing a webinar or whatever, and I was teaching a framework or something, I would say like, it's the burrito method, and it stands for
Love that.
like, I'm a burrito, taco, chips, and salsa girly, and so anything was about like there was the taco method, burrito, like, so many different things, and it's so fun. It's
Yeah.
branding is, like, such an opportunity to, like, how can you be kitschy in a fun way, in, like, a way that
Yeah.
feels real exciting for you?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a fine line between
For sure.
gimmicky and,
Yeah.
actually being fun. And people always ask me like, how far is going too far? Because I love inserting themes into people's brands,
Yeah.
like just
Yes.
even subconsciously. And I was like, well, as soon as it becomes unclear
Yes.
of what you offer, that's when it's going too far. So as
Yeah.
long as people understand what you're doing, what you're talking about, and why you're offering the service that you offer, it's okay to inject some fun in it, inject some themes, inject some, acronyms and things that like light you up and light your clients up as
Yeah,
well.
I think that's a really great point because I think that you are landing on the line perfectly of clear and clever, clear and creative. I think that there's always the argument of like clear is better than clever, clear is better than
Yeah.
creative. And as art school major in the creative industry, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And there is going too far sometimes where you're like, I don't even know
Yes.
what you're
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like it did take me a while to figure that balance out,
Yeah,
especially because I made the mistake of going for people in the food industry first because
sure.
my messaging was that it was like, oh, I need to backtrack and I need to explain
Back it out a little
extra.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think when it comes to working on your offer, it was like you said earlier about like, you know, doing the beta testing, working with clients first, seeing what your offer is going to develop into before you do any branding. Okay, maybe you want to name it, productize it. Yes, fine. But let it develop a little bit. Try and
Yes.
launch it a bit, see
Yep.
if there's any uptake on it before you think about the things you can add on top. So like you asked me earlier about like whether or not you would brand an offer straight away or things like that. It's like you got to figure the offer out first and
Yes.
then you can do that. Otherwise, as the designer, if you the business owner aren't clear on your strategy and how you want to bring your offer to life, it's very hard for the designer to extract what you need and what your branding needs to do for
Yes.
you because that's one of like my key questions.
Yes. So this is a rant I made on Instagram, I think. I need to, I think, do a full episode about this. But I'd been hearing from service providers who were complaining about the results they were getting when they hired people like a copywriter or a brand strategist
Mm,
or a launch planner or something. And they were frustrated because they weren't getting the result they want. They weren't hitting the metrics or the ROIs, or the brand still didn't feel like them, or the offer didn't feel, or whatever. And it's so frustrating for me looking from the outside in, because I'm like, you to go back to their point earlier, you haven't gotten your reps in enough for you to
mhm,
even know what the fuck you're doing, what you're selling, who it's for, what's the result going to provide, what are the objections. So you're asking a service provider who, yes, is an expert in branding or web design or whatever, they don't know your offer, they don't know your audience, they don't know your business, and it's not their
mhm,
job to. Like, they're supposed to let they're supposed to make what you have already exist better and refine, but like, we can't make something better if there's nothing for us to work with. And in the same vein, like my clients who are coming in through SOS, like there are some people, it's very rare, you have to be a very, very specific type of person, but there are some people who have found success in working with me inside of my container who haven't sold their offer yet, but
mm.
it's because they come from a long, agency or consulting
Right.
background
Yeah.
where they've done the thing and they have results that they can, like, call on, and even people that they can who can write, like, a case study for them, and they are so intertwined into that network of community of people who they're gonna land a client, like, tomorrow. But unless you have that, if don't come to me to productize your offer if you haven't sold it yet. Like, what are we productizing? I have nothing to work with,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm making things up, and then 6 months from now, you're gonna say, "Well, the entire system that Emily made for me doesn't work." I'm like, "Well, no
Yeah.
shit." Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, it's like the offer that I put together in the beginning of the year. It's called the Brand Chef Special, and, like, I tested it for a full-on 6 months. Like, I launched it twice, it was already in the works behind the scenes, and I was just like, "You know what? Stepping back. It's not working for me."
mm,
And it wasn't even that, like, I couldn't deliver or, like, the stuff that I was offering wasn't good. It was just like, I just wasn't connected with it. I wasn't talking
yeah,
about it.
something
And
wasn't landing.
so, yeah, something wasn't landing. And I was just like, you know what? Step back and go back to what you know was working for you. So then that's why I stepped back and came back to the offer that I really, like, enjoyed doing. And it took working with a client that, like, where I did the offer of it and was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, okay. I
yes.
need to do that again." Yeah.
Yes, yes. And that's all this is. That
Mhm.
is the game of being a service provider, is
Oh, yeah.
having a hypothesis about what you think the service needs to include and be and say and do and provide, and find someone who wants that thing, and then you do it. And then you learn, and you
Yeah.
tweak and refine and you perfect and you niche down or you broaden out, and that is the game. I think there's so many people who are thinking they can perfect it to death behind the scenes without real life
Yes.
people experiencing
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. And also, they think that them just tweaking behind the scenes would change something in front of the curtain. It's like, okay, you're tweaking behind the scenes, but you're saying, "Oh, you're not making more sales," but what have you done in front
Yes.
to get people to come in to see
Yes.
what you've done behind
Yes.
the scenes, right?
Yes.
It's like, okay, you've got your great offer. You're like, it's good. Your current clients are doing, they're like, oh yeah, it's great. I love working with you. But if people outside aren't seeing, how are you bringing those people
Yep.
in to experience that
Yeah.
along with you?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the game. It's the game. Well, are there any insider, since you work with so many service providers who, or not just service providers, people who have products who want to brand them, w is there anything that you're seeing behind the scenes as, like, an insider, like, this is what seems to be working for people right now, or this is where maybe 2026 is headed in terms of offers or branding or style? Like, what's going on behind the scenes right now?
I think it's a lot to do with simplicity,
Mm,
is what I'm seeing. It's also, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Commitment. So it's like committing to your offer, right? Like, okay, yes, you can test but the key thing that also I learned was you need to evaluate, right? If you're testing something new and just going and being like, yeah, this is gonna work, and not reviewing what you've
Yep.
decided to test,
Yep.
then that's something that needs to be on the
Yes.
radar.
Yes.
And then once you've done that, and once you see that the things that are happening, I think a lot of people are seeing now, oh, I should be simplifying. I should be productizing so that I can talk about things because there's so much
So
everything
much.
now
There's
right
so much.
out there. It's like we almost have lost our focus
Yeah.
or we just don't know how to focus anymore. And I think we're finally realizing that and finding that and being able to figure out what your focus is has been a big thing recently with clients. It's like, okay, I'm going to focus on this and certain people that come to me, I'm like, "Oh, I don't think your offer is ready yet."
Yeah.
Or, you're okay with business branding. You don't need an offer brand because of the way um they put their offer out there. It's very, I guess, like if they have a personal brand or if it's just very intertwined as like, this is what I do instead of this is a product, then they don't need an offer brand. So it's figuring out where you sit and also how you want to work. I think that's
Yeah.
also a big thing. A lot of people are feeling like, oh, actually, I want to be more involved with my clients instead of, oh, I want to put a course out there or
Right.
whatever
Right.
it may be. Like, so it's a lot of people are trying to figure out where they want their focus. And then once they do that, it's like, okay, now how do I go all in and how do I boost it? How do I do things and get things to make it better? Basically.
Love that. What are some
Yeah.
design trends that you're seeing coming up for 2026?
Um, I don't really follow trends. So I don't do trends, basically. Theming started to be a trend like last
Theming,
year, I
yeah.
think. Yeah, theming. And then that's kind of died down a little bit. But I think um, there's a lot of, I guess, looking professional, like
Mm,
blending personal brand with a business brand
mhm.
is a trend that I've seen um, for the past 6 months or so. Like people are seeing that, okay, I need to be personable as a business owner as well as product based. But I think that's more so in the service industry because obviously there are still tech bros and apps
Sure.
and AI stuff
There's
that's
always
going
gonna be
out
a tech
there.
bro
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, exactly. So I think like in kind of our space, that's what I'm seeing a lot more of, and I think it's trying to find your own personality within it.
Yeah,
I think that's the key because whenever a trend comes up, you can get samey quite quickly. You can see
for
certain things
sure.
on social media, like how
Yep.
people do their photography, like personal photography, or how they dress, even. And I think the key is to find your essence
Yep.
to really make it yours. Whether it's your offer, whether it's your business brand, it's just like we need to find that essence. And to do that, it's what you said. You need to know what you're offering
Yeah, yeah,
before you can
and
make those
the vibe you
decisions.
wanna be bringing to the table. I think, like,
Yeah, yeah. We need that
I
alignment.
recently
We don't want the
exactly.
tattoo person and then, like,
Right,
image
right.
person together.
I got brand photos done recently, and I love my photographer. I've used her for my entire business. She's done every single one of my professional headshots, and I love her so
Mhm,
much. And we were picking some locations. I was sending her some vibes on Pinterest. She's opening up a studio, but it wasn't going to be ready yet. So we needed to go like location scout. And I said, okay,
mhm,
well, when you do get this, I do want like one or two just like plain white or plain color background and just like a headshot, like not just lifestyle headshot. And so we're going to do that. And so we're talking about what I could wear to that and whatever. And I had a couple outfit changes. And I had a friend with me too, and one of them mentioned oh, you're not gonna do the hot pink power suit and the power suit pose. And we just talked about how themey and samey that
Mm,
vibe has been lately.
yeah.
And I'm personally excited to if I could never see another headshot where someone's sitting in a pastel or a fluorescent suit with their knees spread wide and their arm between their legs,
Yeah.
that
Yeah. On a
power move.
stool, so on a tall
Yes, I'm
stool with the
just
background.
over it. And so it was funny because I had some of my own kind of trouser pants, but I try to be can I be my own brand and vibe within these trouser pants? I'm gonna wear
Mm,
they're not just trouser, they're a red, maroon, and brown gingham trouser. So they're a fun pattern. And then I'm gonna wear it with a tank top so you can see my tattoos. And then I'm gonna sit in this really kind of um moody library coffee shop because that's my vibe. And so
yeah.
again, it's just stuff like that where it's take the essence of I'm in trouser pants, so I'm in professional wear, and there's a blazer sitting next to me and I have a coffee. All of those elements have been done over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But the vibe of this is my own and is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's all about figuring out that for yourself and for your business and for your
Yeah.
offer. Like
Yeah.
my headshots aren't really my vibe, but I just try and use them in a way and create and make them fit with the vibe by making it darker and things like that until, I have the headspace to figure out where I want to go and what I want to do with my headshots. But, when you're working with a designer on your branding, that's also something that, you can ask to see if they provide that for you,
Yeah.
that service, that art direction. So I
Yeah.
worked with a client and then I was like, you know what? These are the types of shots you want because your backgrounds for your brand looks like this. So we don't want them to clash, or we want your photos to stand out as well. So definitely, when you're working with someone, don't be afraid to ask for that and see if they can give you any pointers if you're working with other service providers to elevate your brand as well at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
this has been so fun. Thank you so much for just yapping with me about branding and offers and design and all the
Love
things.
it. Yeah.
Can you let my listeners know where they can hang out with you online and learn more about what you've got going on? If they have an offer they are ready to brand, then they can reach out.
Yeah, I'm at Studio Coya, Coya, everywhere. Studiocoya.com. Yeah, you can find my offers there. And I also love to yap. So I have a podcast if you want to listen to that. I do
Yes. What's
10-minute episodes. It's called Nourish Your Brand. And
perfect?
yeah, I just give tips on how you can nourish your brand, what to feed it, basically.
What you're feeding it. Yeah, food related.
Yeah.
Again, I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
I
guys,
have a food analogy for each
yes, I
episode.
love it. I love it. We're going to have the links to all of that in the show notes over on the blog. So definitely go check that out. Thank you so much for coming on today. This was fantastic. I had a great time chatting.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun too.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sell the Damn Service. I'm really honored that you spent however many minutes you just did with me. Now, if you could go do me a very quick favor and be sure to like, subscribe, leave a rating and a review for this podcast over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or, pick your favorite platform. I'm not going to be that choosy. It truly means the world to me. It's how little tiny shows that are like mine, that are self-funded and, being edited in between dinner time and school pickup, it helps us get seen. It's free for you to do and takes just a couple of minutes. And I would love you forever. If I could send you an edible arrangement as a big thank you, I would. So instead, consider this giant thank you directed just at you for going to do that, and share this episode or this podcast with a friend who needs to hear it. I love ranting and raving about service-based business strategies. And, I think more people should listen to this show, honestly. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really, really, really am grateful that you're here, and we will chat very soon.